Peter here from Full Spectrum Performance, and I'm excited to teach you how to make a tomato sauce. Now, this is the perfect base for soup, and it's the perfect spread for pizzas, or really anything you're looking to top off with that lovely, delicious tomato sauce. So, let's get to it.
Okay, here we have our ingredients for a tasty tomato, pizza, lasagna sauce, tomato soup base, you name it, it's perfect for whatever you need. Here we have 1 large yellow onion, 6 shiitake mushrooms, 10 cloves of garlic. Get your Dragon Ball alignment on those 7 tomatoes. We're going to be using about a half a tube or a little bit more than 4 tablespoons of tomato paste. More towards the 5 side if you like yours a little thicker and on the acidic side. 2 cans of diced tomatoes, and for our seasonings we have a half a tablespoon of salt, black pepper, dried basil, and 2 tablespoons of ground oregano. Over here we have 1 cup packed of fresh basil leaves, and we get our basil in bulk, so just be sure to remove the leaves. It's pretty straightforward. But as a heads up, if you're going to want to save the stalks, throw those in your leftover freezer baggie just like I showed you in that collard greens and wild rice medley video to be used in a tasty leftover broth. With everything else, we're just going to chop it up and throw it in a bowl, so let's keep the good times rolling. And we're back to it. The easiest thing about this sauce is it's basic and simple prep. You're just going to loosely cut the onions into ribbons, slicing the garlic and mushrooms, and quartering those tomatoes. We're actually going to be leaving the basil whole, but if you want to give it a loose chop, go for it. We're going to be emulsifying everything anyway, so it's really not a big deal. But I'm going to be using this sauce for some pizza and soup, so I like the longer pieces of basil in the sauce for that. I do recommend that you prep everything all at once, considering how we're going to cook it. You just don't want anything to burn because the initial cook time is pretty fast. So let's take our ingredients over to the oven. So you're going to want to have some oil. Here we have about a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil on medium heat, and we're just going to toss in our onions to brown them up a little bit, just to add some extra delicious flavor for that sauce. So we're going to let the onions cook for about 2 or 3 minutes with occasional stirring so things don't burn. Once your onions have started to brown, we're going to add that half a tube or 4 tablespoons of tomato paste. You want it to cook down and caramelize a little bit with the onions, and it's going to add a really nice extra flavor. If you have any extra tomato paste left over, just be sure to cap it and put that in the fridge to be used for later. Just go ahead and stir everything until it's thoroughly mixed. The browning on the bottom is what you're looking for. Just be sure to always keep mixing it so things don't get burnt. Regardless, even if they do, don't worry too much because we're going to be deglazing the pan in the next step. Now that everything is nice and mixed, you're going to want to add your tomatoes, garlic, and mushrooms. The juices from the tomatoes are going to blend all of these flavors up nicely and begin the deglazing process. So let this first reduction cook for 2 to 3 minutes with occasional stirring every 30 seconds or so. Try to target those areas that are showing more browning so again, things don't burn. It's been about 3 minutes and we're at the fun part. The flavors are harmonized, you get the umami from the mushrooms and the savory flavors of the garlic seeping through, and it's time to add those canned tomatoes and all of the rest of the seasonings minus the bay leaf. Just leave that out to the side for now and mix everything together. If there's any burning or browning on the bottom, don't worry, this step is going to fully deglaze everything. Now to get the perfect amount of extra liquid for this to cook down fully, go ahead and fill up those empty cans of tomatoes up with water so you get any of the residual leftovers. It's all about minimizing yield loss of ingredients. So go ahead and add your basil and bay leaf and give it a quick mix. And we're just going to bring this to a boil and let it reduce. So let's go ahead and turn the heat up to high. This should take about a minute to get a nice gentle boil. And once you start to see that foam and a steady rolling boil, we're going to want to crank this down slightly less than medium heat. We'll come back in about 40 minutes after this reduces. So it's been 40 minutes. We're going to take out our bay leaf and turn off the heat. And with that being said, it's immersion blender time. Again, a link for this is in the description, so be sure to check it out. Just be sure to go over those big chunky bits of the tomatoes and mushrooms so they break down nice and easy. Again, if you don't like bigger strands of basil like this, remember to chop them up ahead of time because they'll break down even easier with the immersion blender. Just go ahead and give it a good mix, and we're going to put this back on the heat, turn it to a 3, and allow it to reduce for another 20 minutes. So, total cook time for this sauce is about 60 minutes. But, whew, it's the bee's knees. It already tastes delicious, and the aromas are amazing. And if you're looking for a tasty soup, you could really just stop right here and serve it up.
And here we have it. Sauce is done. We're going to go ahead and turn this off the heat. Sauce is really done. Just give it a few different swirls. Get some of that extra foam down there. We see that we've reduced it quite a bit. It's pretty thick. This is what you're looking for though. You don't want it too watery, especially if you're going to be using it as a sauce. And then from here, what we're going to do is really just let it come down to a little bit of a cool before we start to jar it up. And there you have it. So let's go ahead and get these jars ready, and we'll come back to this in about 2 to 5 minutes.
And here we are. We have about 9.5 cups of tomato sauce. They're filled a little bit higher than the line, but just be sure to store them when they're still warm because the lid is going to create a nice vacuum seal to aid in the storage process. Just give them some room, about an inch to accommodate for freezing if you're going to throw them in the freezer. But here you have it, a tasty tomato sauce and soup base. I do want to just say, if you're going to throw these in the freezer, give them a chance just to cool overnight in the fridge before you throw them straight in, just so you don't break any of your storage containers, especially if they're glass. But I guess I'm going to have to show you how to make some pizza with this later. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this tomato sauce in a soup, a pizza, lasagna, whatever. It's going to be delicious. Take care. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, and if you can, please share and hit the subscribe button. Slam that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content from myself and Full Spectrum Performance. I love you so much. Let someone you know you love them. Take care.